Hi everybody, it's Kat here with the instructional video for the November Grab&Go craft kit for grades 7 through 12. So this month we're doing something a little trickier, so we'll see how it goes. So we're going to be making a yarn pumpkin, so we'll be using a balloon for the shape of the pumpkin, and then we'll be wrapping yarn covered in glue around the balloon. And then we'll let the glue dry, and then we'll take the balloon out, and then we'll put like a little pipe cleaner stem and leaves on it. So in your kit you'll have a balloon, you'll have the pipe cleaners, the yarn, the glue, and you'll also have a fork, a plastic fork, but you'll have to provide your own cup or bowl or some other place to keep the glue. So to start out, you want to blow up the balloon. So you want to blow it up like not very much. I just blew like one time into this balloon. Because if it's too big, I think, the yarn will not like wrap well enough to hold the shape. And so before you start, you'll want to hang your balloon from something. So I'm using this weird like tower thing that is like a step stool for my toddler, just because my kitchen didn't make a great background for filming. But you could like tie this to your kitchen cabinet. Anyway, you just want to have it hanging because it would be really hard to do this if you were trying to hold it on a surface. Okay, so I've tied my balloon up, right? And I've also gotten my first string of yarn here. And I tied it on around the knot in the balloon. And then I'm going to take my glue cup. So I poured a bunch of glue into this cup. And I'm gonna like stick the yarn in here and kind of like squish it around. I'm gonna try to get as much in the glue as I can. Let's see. All right, it's pretty gluey. And then this is where the fork comes in handy. So you've got your yarn, it's covered in glue, and you don't want like too much glue to stay on because otherwise it'll like drip everywhere. But you also don't you want you want enough of the glue to stay on that it's going to be sticky, but you don't want to have too much. So you can run the strand of yarn between the tines of the fork and see how it's kind of like taking the excess glue off, but it's still leaving enough glue on. All right, so I'm going to start wrapping this around the balloon. And this is honestly just kind of a messy and sort of tricky thing to do because you kind of have to balance getting the glue off of the yarn here, all right, and not getting it on anything else, and wrapping it around the balloon. So on the blog where I found this craft, they just kind of left the ends loose. I think what I'm going to do is actually tie each strand together, because I found when I tried this out, it was hard to get the ends to stay down. So this is kind of up to you whether you want to try to like glue or to tie a gluey strand of yarn to a not gluey strand of yarn. I think I'm going to just try that because I know my hands are going to be covered in glue anyway. So what I would do next is I would tie this on here, get this one covered in glue, and keep wrapping. So you kind of want to like wrap it around in a crisscross type shape. So the idea is that you'll have sort of covered most of the balloon, like wrapped it around in yarn in kind of a random way. So I can show you sort of my example that I made the other day. This is how I kind of learned what not to do. So I have this balloon here. I think I blew it up too big, first of all. I also didn't use all the yarn that was in the kit because I realized that like it wasn't really going great. But you can see like the ends of the yarn are kind of coming off, right? So that's why I'm saying I think it's important to tie it. But I will say that after I like let this dry for a day or two, it actually like hardened pretty well. And I think if I had had a smaller balloon and wrapped the yarn, it would have covered more distance and like stayed together, and made the craft actually how it's supposed to be. The other thing that you need to know, like after you finish wrapping this up, you let it dry for a couple of days. And then you have to go around and like push on the balloon to like gently detach the balloon from the yarn. Because if you just cut the balloon, it'll like shrivel, and if the yarn is attached, if it's still stuck on the outside of the balloon, it'll just collapse, and then all your like gooey hard work will be for naught. So you have to kind of gently press all the way around until the yarn is completely detached from the balloon, and then you'd make like a tiny little cut near the knot, and you just slowly let the air out and pull the balloon out from the inside of the yarn pumpkin. All right, and so then the next thing you would do is you'll have your two little pipe cleaners here. So you have a green one and a yellow one, and you can kind of curl this one around your little finger to make a little stem, and then you can use the green one to make leaves, so you can make a little like curly Q with those two, or you can make like a more like a sort of fold it up into a leaf shape, but then you just hook the ends of those around the yarn, and then you have your pumpkin. So that's that. I can't really think of any other tips, but I'll post this video, on Instagram and on Facebook, but also on the library website with a write-up and with a link to the blog where I found the project, which I think it's called One Little Project. So I hope you guys try this. I hope it's not too frustrating. I'll try to make the next one simpler, but I thought it would be interesting to kind of branch out into a more, slightly messy, more interesting project this time. So yeah, let me know how it goes. Please send pictures if you try it. All right, see you next time.